Take a look at this chest plate. It's the start of something special. In the last video, I took on the two newest endgame bosses in old school RuneScape on my UIM. I started with the Doom of Makayodel, where I got all three uniques, the Confliction Gauntlets, which are the new best magic gloves in the game, the Eye of Iak, which is the new best one-handed magic weapon in the game, and the Avernic Treads, which are the new best in slot boots for everything in the game. Then I went on to Yama, where I started the grind to get the full Oathplate armor set, and that video ended when I got my first piece of Oathplate, the chest. The Oathplate set is going to be the core of my melee loadout going forward. It is the best armor in the game for slash accuracy, while still having strength bonuses equivalent to Bandos armor. It's kinda like how the Inquisitor armor is for Crush, except slash is just way more prevalent in the endgame than Crush is. This video is going to pick up exactly where the last one left off, and I'll be killing Yama until I have the full Oathplate set on my UIM. First order of business, what to do with this chest plate. I didn't mention this in the last video, but one other really nice thing about the Oathplate set is that it's storable in the POH. However, if I were to put this chest plate in the armor case right now, I wouldn't be able to take it back out until I finish the set. And because of that, I'm actually going to be holding off on doing that just yet, because there's a chance I may want to use this sometime before I finish the Yama grind. This is just going to go in the looting bag, and I'll drop some of the loot that I've been saving from this boss over to my main to free up some space. I've been doing the solo mage method at Yama, and that's because it is so much easier to learn compared to the melee methods, or killing the boss in a duo, and honestly the grind has been going so well that I don't really want to graduate to melee. I have near max mage and I want to use it to make this fight a lot easier, and yes, doing it melee is faster, but it is a lot harder too, and a lot more risky. I would like to enjoy this grind, so I'm going to be doing the more enjoyable method. I currently stand at 201 KC, exactly where I got my first Oathplate piece, and I can expect to get my next piece in about 200 more. Nice, first shard drop of the video. That puts me at 145 total, and once I get to 450, I will be able to make my own Oathplate piece, completely bypassing one of the RNG drops. Ooh, yes, shards and an elite clue. Shards. Oh my god, I am getting so lucky with these. Dude, the shards are coming in. Hi, and welcome to the Shard Show, where I just got some shards.
Oh, what if it was purple?
Purple.
Oh my god! It's the same one I already had. That is, I guess, going to be 90 mil for the main, because it doesn't break down into nearly enough Oathplate shards to be worth it. A piece of Oathplate armor can be broken down in the Ancient Forge inside the Ancient Prison in the God Wars dungeon for 50 Oathplate shards, which is like 1/9 of a piece. So I can either get 1/9 of a piece's worth of shards or 90 mil on the main. Kill number 300 for some supplies. Nice shards, that puts me at 217 total now. Ooh, Forgotten Lockbox. Shards, nice. That actually gets me over halfway to the 450 mark, which is the point where I can make a free Oathplate piece. So basically, assuming I get a new Oathplate piece within the next 300 or so kills, which is pretty likely, I am basically halfway done with the grind. Shards. More shards? Ooh, starting off the day with more shards. Ah, shards. I wanted to mention something here, and that is how I handle runs when I'm trying to just squeeze in an extra kill or two with fewer prayer pots, and that usually only happens when I get a supply drop at some point. So first of all, I am using Mystic Might instead of Augury, which is a bit less DPS, but it drains your prayer way less. And when I'm here in the off phase, I can actually save even more prayer by not praying an offensive mage prayer at all. Because it turns out, even if you switch Piety on for the melee hits and then pray nothing for the mage hits, you can consistently kill the ad before you take another unavoidable hit splat. And yes, this is a boring thing for me to be talking about, but at least it's not me saying shards 12 times in a row. I love how the game has these troll drops here, like the dragon plate legs. You know, the other red plate legs in the game. Lockbox. Shards, nice. It's been a while since I've gotten any. Ooh, shards, and that actually gets me past the 300 mark, so that's 2/3 of the way to a free Oathplate piece. 12 more shards, very nice to see. All right, big moment on this one. That's going to be at 400 KC, which puts me back where I should be RNG-wise. 2 times the drop rate for getting any Oathplate piece, and I've gotten exactly 2 of them. First kill of the day. More shards from a lockbox. Man, I am rolling in shards today. Oh, it is so good to see the orange text. Oh my god, back to back. And that's what 24 Oathplate shards looks like in the inventory. Ah, shit, I stepped on the glyph too early. Oh, fuck. I'm dead. How the hell did I survive that? I managed to finish that kill too, and if there was ever a time to be rewarded... Man. Ooh, dossier? Oh god, it's the pet one again. I got this in the last episode, and just like I did then, I'm just gonna drop these. It basically lets you attempt a much harder version of the fight for an increased drop rate for the pet, and it's just not gonna be worth it for me. Oh god damn it, I stepped on it too early again. But as a smart gamer, I will simply step on the other one. What the fuck?
Fuck the game.
Love me some early morning shards. I am actually starting to get kind of close to the 450 mark. This should put me at 373. More shards, that's 385 now. Up to 397 now. Yes, ooh, we are getting close. Big moment on this one. 500 KC at Yama for some law runes. Lockbox. Shards, nice. It should just be like 3 more shard drops to get to 450. Ooh, PB, 509.6. I think that's a PB by like 1 or 2 ticks. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, apparently at some point I managed to get a new PB of 501.2 and I didn't realize it until now, so there we go. If I managed to get a bit of a god run, I could get maybe a sub 5 solo, which sounds pretty good. Holy shit, 452.8. I guess I'm just getting really lucky with some of these kills today. More shards, that's 432 now. Back to back, nice, 444 shards now, so the next drop should be the last one I need. Dossier? Ooh, Catalyst acquisition. That's the one that gives you a bunch of free ether catalysts if you do it, but it's kind of worthless since ether catalysts are so cheap. Dossier? Shard acquisition, that's one of the more valuable ones, right? Yeah, 6.3 mil for the main. Ooh, that's the last one. There we go, take a look at this. Over 450 Oathplate shards in the bag. This is really big because it means I can just use these up and get a free Oathplate piece. However, I cannot do that just yet, and that's because I don't know what my second piece is going to be. So right now, I just have the chest. So if I use these on, say, the legs, there's a chance that my next piece will be the legs again instead of the helm. But if I save these instead, whichever piece I get next, I'll just use the shards to make the last one, and then I'll be 100% done. Unless it's another chest. I'm gonna hope that doesn't happen. I guess this is just gonna make the stack bigger, so I'll have more left over to drop to the main once I do get my second piece. Or if I get really unlucky, I could just make it all the way to 900 shards and make 2 pieces for free. I'm gonna stop showing these in the video though. Real big milestone coming in here, 600 KC at Yama, which means I am now at the drop rate for 3 Oathplate pieces, despite only having seen 2 drops. So I am once again dry. Oh my god, I'm done! I got it. I got the legs. Okay, I'm done at Yama forever. Holy shit. Okay, I have the legs, and then I have over 450 shards. I can make the helmet with that. Oh my god, I was feeling so good about it being today. I was thinking like, today's the day, it's gotta be the day. And it was. Oathplate legs, let's fucking go. Okay, I know I've been portraying this as a super simple process to make the last piece, like, just turn 450 Oathplate shards into an Oathplate helm, but for some reason, Jagex decided to make this process really convoluted, and they attached a whole mining and smithing minigame to it. So this whole process takes place in this area of the Chasm of Fire where there's a bunch of infernal shale rocks. The first step is to mine and crush 2520 infernal shale, and this part is really interesting because as far as I'm aware, this is the first and only time that Jagex has added something to the game intentionally to encourage tick manipulation. You can get this item from this imp here, Jim's Wet Cloth, and literally all it does when you click it is it plays an animation of you wiping your forehead. However, that actually counts as a 3-tick skilling action, which means you can use it to 3-tick mine the rocks. I've talked about tick manipulation more in depth a couple times before on this channel, but the main idea is that you are starting a 3-tick skilling action by clicking the cloth and then replacing that action with a different one, specifically the action of mining the shale. This lets you get into a 3-tick cycle doing a mining roll every 3 ticks as opposed to mining normally where it would be more ticks between mining rolls because you'd have to like waste ticks moving between the rocks before you start mining. You crush the shale by just using a hammer on it with a chisel in the inventory or vice versa, and it gives you 1 to 3 crushed shale per ore, weighted to an average of 1.3. They actually added another mechanic where you get slightly more shale if you only have 1 in your inventory when you crush it, and that's meant to encourage crushing it while you are in the 3-tick cycle instead of getting a full inventory and then crushing them, but that makes the method too click intensive for my taste, so basically doing this 3-tick method and then crushing each inventory once it fills up, it should only take about like 1 or 2 hours to get all the shale I need. Alright, I have finished mining the shale, and now it's time to actually start using these shards. You start by using the furnace to melt some of each into an infernal nugget, and then you have to use this pool here to cool each one off. You sort of have to time it right, or else you have to redo that one. Once you have 10 of them, you can combine them into a chunk here, and then you have to do this other timing minigame on the anvil. Basically, you click on each tick to progress the progress bar, but you have to wait a tick each time you complete it, or else you have to redo that bar. So once you do it enough times, you end up with an infernal plate. Okay, the moment of truth. I now have 9 infernal plates. Let's make the Oathplate helm. There we go, the last Oathplate piece on the account. Okay, I had to get the full melee loadout for this, but take a look at that. That's full Oathplate on the UIM, along with all these other great melee accessories, and that is so good. My melee loadout finally doesn't look like shit, and I feel like it can finally compete with my other loadouts. And here's quite possibly the best part, this whole set is storable in the POH just like that. All 3 best in slot armor sets, and none of it is taking up any backspace. Alright, 20 easy clues. Ooh, Bandos Rope Top! Yes, I got it! Oh my god! Okay, well, God, I'm gonna have to explain this in the video now, but I decided to do a bunch of easy clues on a whim for the Bandos Robe Top, and I just got it. That's Bandos Vestments complete. That's actually really, really big. Okay, so let me put this in here, and this is actually going to be, it's not going to complete the set in the POH because the cloak is in the stash unit, but let me show you why this is really, really good. Okay, so let's imagine that I want to use the BGS that I have in the stash unit here. Normally I would have to pull this out, and these 2 things come with it, the plate body and the cloak, so I can use the god sword for whatever I want, but these 2 things have to be either in the inventory or the bag when I'm doing that. I can't just store, well, I can store them in the stash unit, but it takes the god sword as well. So I can't use the god sword without having these 2 things in the inventory. But now, because I have the Bandos Robe Top, I can go ahead and go to the treasure chest here, and I can store the Bandos Cloak in here, because the rest of the set is in here now, so I can take everything out and I can put everything back in. So that means that now I can use the BGS with only having the Bandos plate body in the inventory or the bag, and if this happens to be, okay, it's just over 100k, so I can't use the nest for it right now, but yeah, that actually helps a ton, and if I ever complete the full Bandos rune set, I can do the same thing for the plate body, which means the god sword becomes single storable, basically. And then in reverse, when I'm done with the Bandos god sword, I can just take all the rest of the vestments out, put everything except the cloak in, and then go store all 3 items in the stash unit. So now that the Yama grind is done, I have all 3 best in slot armor sets, and my melee loadout in particular is no longer sticking out like a sore thumb. That said, it is still not fully equivalent to the other 2, and that's because I only have 2 out of the 3 Raids Mega Rares in the game, the Twisted Bow for ranged and the Tumikin Shadow for magic. It's probably not surprising at all to hear that my next major goal on the account is to get the Scythe of Vitter from the Theater of Blood to finish off my melee loadout. But because that's gonna be such a long grind, I want to make sure that all my bases are covered going into it. In particular, there is just 1 item in my melee loadout that still has an upgrade available, and that is the Berserker Ring from Dagonoth Rex. A couple of years ago, along with the Desert Treasure 2 release, the 4 main bosses from that quest were turned into repeatable bosses after you finish the quest, similar to Vorkath or the Phantom Muspa. Each of these bosses has a special drop that can be used to upgrade one of the DK rings, and I want to get that upgrade for the Berserker ring, which means getting the Ultor vestige from Vardorvis. Oh man, I am gearing up for Vardorvis, and I just realized this is the end of the Serp Helm on this account. I've had this item for over 3 years now, and I think a big part of why I kept it for so long instead of going for a face guard or something is because I also got the extremely rare mutagen to transmog it. But now that I have full Oathplate, I don't really have a use for this anymore, so I will be restoring it to get rid of the transmog, taking out the scales it was charged with, and then dismantling it into 20,000 free Zulrah scales. And that's another thing, because I'm not using the helm anymore, my scale usage is going to go way down since the blowpipe is going to be the only thing using scales now. Okay, here we are at Vardorvis. This is the loadout, and honestly, I'm feeling really good about it. I have just about every possible piece of gear that you could want for this boss, besides things that you have to kill the boss to get, like the Soul Reaper axe. This is why I wanted to wait to do this boss until I had full Oathplate, the Noxious Halberd, and all my other melee upgrades. Oh my god. Wait, I got the tablet 1kc. That is so good. 2kc technically. Oh my god, let's get out of here. Okay, so this is the Ring of Shadows, the item you get after beating the Desert Treasure 2 quest, and normally it's just an all-around ring with a little of everything stat-wise, but here is the important thing. Each DT2 boss has a tablet as an uncommon drop, and you can use that tablet on the ring to unlock a teleport really close to the boss. This is so nice, and I can't believe I got it literally on the first kill after the quest. Yeah, there we go. It teleports you right here in the Stranglewood. That is so good. Wow. 2 speed tasks there. Got the master time just naturally really bad. Wow. Okay. The number one item I'm looking for from Vardorvis is the Ultor Vestige, which is the upgrade to the Berserker ring to turn it into the Ultor Ring, the best in slot ring for melee strength bonus. It has an effective drop rate of 1 in 1088, but it's actually not quite that simple. Instead of rolling a 1 in 1088 drop, you actually have to roll a 1 in 362.66 drop 3 times. Now, you may have done the math there and thought, wait, that is the same thing, but it's actually not, because the variance is a lot smaller. So basically, I am less likely to get very lucky on it, and less likely to go very dry, and more likely to get the Vestige specifically around 1088 kill count. These 3 1 in 362 rolls used to be invisible, so you didn't know when you got it, but thankfully they changed that earlier this year. So now, the first time you roll the 1 in 362, you get a gold ring drop. The second time you roll it, you get 2 gold rings, and the third time you get the Ultor Vestige. So the thing that I'm on the lookout for right now is a simple gold ring drop. Shit. Alright, well, first death, probably of many. It's kind of good that this boss doesn't have an item retrieval service. It's just a normal instance death where you get a death pile outside the instance. There's a few aggressive enemies you have to run past when you're running back after dying, so if it were a death bank, it would be a little bit risky. So this is the fight. Vardorvis uses melee and is weak to slash. He has 4 different special attacks that he uses very often and at unpredictable intervals. First and most common is the axes. So basically you have to dodge these, or else you take a big hit and you have to deal with the damage over time effect for a while. I have some tiles marked on the ground that are only in the path of 1 axe path, so they kind of act like safe spots a bit, and I have the true tiles of the axes highlighted, and all of that helps make dodging easier. Second is the dash attack, where he dashes around and makes a few spikes pop up out of the ground, and thankfully those spikes cannot spawn at the very edge of the arena, so that's where I'm camping. I still need to be a little bit careful when I'm dodging the axes though, since the spikes can pop up there. Third is the head attack. Basically, Vardorvis's missing head pops up out of the ground and fires a projectile at you that you have to pray ranged for, or else it disables your prayers for a bit. And finally is the captcha attack, where these little red dots pop up and you have to click on them all to regain control control of your character. Individually, these mechanics are not that difficult to deal with, but the real challenge is the fact that he uses multiple of them at the same time, and once you get him to low HP, they all speed up and they get more powerful. This fight is all about quick reactions and good timing to deal with all the different mechanics being thrown at you at the same time. Nice, that was a perfect kill, and I know it's a perfect kill because getting a perfect kill at the DT2 bosses actually gives you 50% extra loot. Normally you get 200 blood runes as a drop, but I actually got 300 for not getting hit by anything avoidable. Ooh, the quartz. I'll explain what that's for in a moment. Wait, perfect Vardorvis? Wait, I thought I already did that when I got the extra loot. Oh, it's 5 times in a trip. Okay, that's actually really cool. This was a 6-kill trip, and I didn't realize that 5 of them were perfect kills. That is great. Okay, so the main purpose of the Blood Quartz is to act as an upgrade for the Ancient Scepter, which if you remember when I was killing the Phantom Muspa a few videos ago, I talked about how I don't really need the Scepter because I have a Kodai wand. However, they actually added another use for it for if you have duplicates or if you don't want to use it on the Scepter, and that is this chest here. You can use the quartz on the chest to get a guaranteed high value drop based on the Vardorvis drop table. 100 Dragon Dart Tips, nice. Vardorvis Master, 50 KC. Oh god, an Awakener's Orb. That's not something we're doing on this account. Yeah, the Awakener's Orb is used to start the Awakened Vardorvis fight. All 4 DT2 bosses have an awakened version that you can fight, which is much harder than the base version, and if you do them all, you get a transmog for the Torva armor, which I'm probably not even going to bother getting on the UIM, so any Awakener's Orbs I get on this grind will be going straight to the main. I recorded a full perfect kill here so you can see what it looks like when you're actually doing it properly and not just running around chugging sharks the whole time. One other aspect of the fight that I haven't mentioned yet is that Vardorvis has a unique stat scaling mechanic. Basically, as his HP gets lower, his defense goes down, so it's easier to finish him off, but his strength gets higher, so he does a lot more damage if you mess up a prayer switch and get smacked with an auto attack. And that stat scaling is actually why I'm dumping all my claw specs at the beginning of the kill instead of the end. His defense is a lot higher at the beginning, but the claw spec has very high accuracy, so it's better to use it at the beginning so you can quickly get past the part of the fight where he has the highest defense. One other neat thing I haven't mentioned is during the CAPTCHA attack, normally your character gets stuck in place and you can't attack him. However, if you see Vardorvis doing his animation of sticking his arm in the ground, which means the attack is about to happen, you can quickly right-click him, and then once the attack starts, click attack, and then you'll actually get an attack off while you are solving the CAPTCHA. Everything is under control. Everything under control. God, that is so good with the 50% extra loot. Ooh, new PB, 1 minute flat. Oh my god. I got a Virtus piece. The Virtus robes are a side grade to the Ancestral robes from the Chambers of Xeric, which I already have. The Ancestral robes are the best in slot magic gear in the game for general usage, but the Virtus robes are actually better specifically for ancient spells. They have a lower magic damage bonus than Ancestral does, but they get an extra boost when you're using ancients. The Virtus robes are storable in the POH, and because I already have the Ancestral robes, I don't really have any problem with storing this in there now. If I don't end up with the full set by the time I get the Vestige, I will just move on. It's not really a big priority for me to complete the set. This actually illustrates how important that Vestige drop mechanic is, by the way. Getting a Virtus piece is actually the same effective drop rate as getting the Vestige, but because it's just a straight 1 in 1088 roll, it is possible to get really lucky like I just did. It's already pretty unlikely to get my Virtus piece at 84 KC, but it would be even more unlikely to get the Vestige this early. But on the other hand, it's much less likely for me to go super dry on the Vestige compared to finishing the Virtus set. And a new PB by 1 tick, 59.4, and another Awakener's Orb. Oh my god, I got the GM time. That is ridiculous. 50.4. I think it's like a 55 for the GM time. I know that's the one that like people are always complaining about, like you gotta bring in the ZCB and get lucky with a natural Ruby Bolt proc, and then spec, and then just do a bunch of shenanigans. And no, I just got it naturally. No big deal. That is so funny. Ooh, gold ring number 1. Okay. I'm getting lucky on that too, I guess. Wow, that's really good. All right, 1 out of 3. Next, I'm looking for 2 gold rings. I forgot about this. There's a bug with Vardorvis I think it's like if you kill him shortly after the captcha attack, you get stuck in that animation where you're just sort of wobbling around.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Oh my god. I'm 2 out of 3. I just got the 2 gold ring drop. I went from 0 out of 3 to 2 out of 3 on like day 1 of Vardorvis. This is ridiculous.
Vardorvis going to show that he's more than just an Awakened Resort printer.
Yeah, for real. So like
Although he is also that.
Yeah, any kill could be the Vestige now. That is crazy.
Hell yeah.
No way! No way! Day 1 Ultor Vestige. Oh my god. 141 KC for the Vestige. That might be... It might be the luckiest I've ever been on anything. Maybe doesn't beat the 7 KC Shadow, but it's close, I think. That's ridiculous. It is hard to explain just how lucky this is, but I did do the dry calc to check, and there was a more than 99% chance to have not gotten the drop by now. I know I'm kind of contradicting all that stuff I was saying earlier about it being hard to get the Vestige early, but this is just some ridiculous luck. Okay, so now to turn this thing into the Ultor Ring. Unfortunately, it is not as simple as just using the Vestige on the ring, because there's one other component you need, and that is 3 chromium ingots. These are rare drops from any of the DT2 bosses, but I didn't manage to get any before getting the Vestige. Thankfully, earlier this year, Jagex put a new method of obtaining them into the game. You can actually make them yourself now. It's kind of interesting how they implemented the method of making your own chromium ingots, because they kind of integrated it into the story. You actually have to go into the Lasar Undercity and learn how to do it from one of these remnants. There we go, that is step 1. Next, you have to go to the Blast Furnace with 40 Rune Ore, 40 Adamant Ore, and 170k GP for each ingot you want to make. And there we go, 3 chromium ingots. The rest of this is pretty simple. You use a chisel to destroy the Berserker Ring and get the Berserker icon out of it. Talk to Pierre the Seer to learn how to make the Ancient Rings. Combine the icon with the Vestige and 500 Blood Runes to make the Ultor icon. And then use the furnace with the icon and 3 chromium ingots. And there we go, the Ultor Ring on the UIM. The Ultor Ring is the best in slot melee ring in the game. The Berserker Ring by itself gives +4 melee strength bonus, the imbued version has +8, and the Ultor Ring has a whopping +12. And having secured it on the UIM, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think it's just about time to go back to one of RuneScape's biggest challenges. In the next video, I will... Oh, wait, there's a new blog that just dropped. Let me go check that out real quick. And there goes all my plans.